About a week ago, I got a DM on my Instagram asking me about the drag race between the Ferrari and the Supra. Remember that scene? It occurred to me that I never covered that, so I'm going to answer this guy's questions. What did he ask? He had several questions. First, who chose the F355 and why the Ferrari? Which is two good questions if you ask me. I don't exactly who first suggested the Ferrari, but I also heard rumors of a C5 Corvette as an option. And when I heard that, I said, oh God, why do we have to keep these muscle cars in a movie that's supposed to be about Japanese cars? So we had a discussion at the picture car warehouse. I said, don't put a Corvette in it, let's just put an exotic, a Ferrari, a Porsche, a Lamborghini, something. Nobody's impressed by a Corvette back in 2001. And then years later, I asked my boss about the Corvette. He said that he wanted a Corvette, but apparently he remembered something I said in one of our meetings. Basically, I said something to the line of, don't do a Corvette. Can't we get a Porsche, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, something like that? And he said, okay, where we're gonna get one? Well, the producer, Neil Moritz, happened to have one. He said, okay, yeah, take my car, you can use that car. Cool. I wasn't happy that it was black. I wanted it to be bright red, right? You know, but beggars can't be choosers, right? The Ferrari, of course, was a 1995 Berlinetta. The Ferrari motor was, of course, a 3.5 liter V8, making about 370 or 380 horsepower, something like that. The 355 weighed about 3,300 pounds. Stock. A stock 1994 Toyota twin turbo Supra weighed about 3,200 pounds in stock trim. Pretty close to each other, right? But you got to remember, they weren't using the stock Supra. They used my actual car. Usually they will use stunt cars, but they needed my car to do the burnout, and it had to be faster than the stock cars. So, however, my Supra was making over 550 horsepower, but with all the audio and video equipment coupled with 2-pound nitrous bottles and a roll cage, pushed the car up to 3,490 pounds. My Supra, of course, was not stock, with the T66 turbo and supporting mods, including exhaust, bigger injectors, fuel pumps, bigger intercooler, piggyback controllers like the HKS, VPC, the GCC, the FCON. On paper, though, the cars were pretty close, very close. Even the stunt guy said, yeah, that should be a good rear wheel. Are you going to really race the cars? Well, not when the cameras were rolling. We got to do stunt shit. And off they went. And they were gone in a second. Like I said, usually we would be using stunt cars, but only a couple of the Supra stunt replicas were turbos, and one of them was automatic. They needed that burnout. The Ferrari, like I said, was owned by the producer Neil Moritz. Whether he volunteered himself or he was pushing to do it, I never heard the story for that. Either way, it was gonna happen. You got to remember that when Neil agreed to loan the car to the production, he would get paid probably $1,500 a day. Not that he needed the money. He is a multi-millionaire. Second, this car was now to be a movie car. If you own a movie car and then you sell it later, what happens? You get a big fat check because it was in a car movie that is very popular 20 years later, right? So he was getting more money for that. He had a line in the car. He looks over to Brian. They had this exchange. So he got a line in the movie, so he's getting royalties for that. But he doesn't need the money, like I said. That's just all part of the benefits. Now, I don't think that Neil ever sold that car. If he sold that car, man, that car must be worth about $300,000, $400,000. No, because it was in a movie with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. It was a big scene. I'll share those thoughts right after the break. I don't know if you know this, but I actually now have a merch store, and if you haven't checked out the video description below my videos, then you're missing out. Currently, I've got a pack full of movie quote t-shirts, and more styles are being added every month, and new items are in development right now. So have a look, see if there's anything you like, and wear it with pride. The link is in the video description below. Being honest, I thought that my car would get wrecked up, broke the clutch, or tear up tires, blow the engines and all that kind of stuff. In real life, obviously they could have done the same with the stunt car, but that means CGI. That is very expensive. My boss calls me up to Eddie Paul's picture car warehouse where everything was going down there. And then there were several people from the transportation crew having a discussion. We're gonna have to get extra tires, another clutch, or a stronger clutch. Everybody was going back and forth. And all I could say is get some extra parts if we need it, if it breaks. Because if we're only using this car, we're gonna have to stop everything and fix it right down there on the street. Basically, all they wanted to know was how to reliably do a burnout without breaking the car. So I tossed the keys to one of the transpo guys, not even the stunt guy. Just do what you do. Pretend it's a Camaro. He hit it, did the burnout. Oh yeah, no problem. That was that. Yeah, it should be fine, I think, but you never know with stunt guys. I jumped in with the engine warmed up to, I revved up to 5,200 RPM and do it again to prove to them it would be consistent. I dropped the clutch and I left 2 big marks on the street. The next guy who got in the car did basically the same things with the same results. So I was very confident that nothing's gonna break. Confident that my Supra would perform. They set about laying out the choreography for how they're gonna do this thing, right? Where are you gonna do this? Where we're gonna do it and how we're gonna do it. The scene was going to be filmed on PCH in Malibu, one of the busiest roads in all of California, day or night. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. So how the hell you do that? How do you stop traffic in the middle of the day, not a holiday? How do you do that? This guy's a smart man. They found a stretch that could be blocked from the north and from the south. It was about a 2-mile stretch. First, we stopped the traffic from the south side, and then we released the north side, and they take off, and they go a little way down the way, and there's a place where they stop and make a U-turn and come back and set up again, okay? And the cars that when they're coming closer and closer and closer as we get closer to Neptune's net, these cars have a cue where to stop, turn around, and everybody stops. There were a bunch of civilian cars driven by stunt drivers. If you look at it, there's a minivan, a couple of other cars. Trickery with the camera lenses made the cars look like they were very, very close to each other, like they were missing by inches, and was nothing like that. Standing on the side looking at it, some of those cars are like 30 feet away, which were coming at it miles, it seems like that. But it fooled everybody, even me looking at it. I think the fastest they went was about 60 miles an hour with the civilian cars. With the Supra and the Ferrari, they were going well over 80 at one point. The race started at the intersection of Trancas, Trancas, Canyon Road, and Broad Beach Road. I always forget the name. Paul Walker, stunt guy, Chris Tuck, took the wheel for most of the sequence. One more thing I want to mention. If you watch the scene, it started with the camera above the cars, right? There's the Ferrari on the left, and on the right is the Supra. Now, if you look down in the hood vents where they're close to the headlights, you can see the like chicken wire, it's a grill, right, mesh, and you can see the chrome stuff that was in my engine. So that tells you that was my actual cars. It wasn't a stunt car, it was the actual car. And I didn't know they did it that way until I saw the dailies. Both cars survived. I did not stay for the second day, but on the second days, the stunt guys had a fun time. I didn't stay for the second day because I had to get back to my work. But what I learned about that day, they were getting faster and faster and faster. And at one point they said, we gotta get out of here. Donuts and all that kind of stuff. Who knows what they were doing? I didn't get a report, but I could only imagine. And when everybody saw that in the movie theater for the first time, the audience was, yeah. So it was kind of a fun thing for me, seeing my car on the screen. People liked the scene. They didn't use the engine sounds because they put in a segment of pumped up music when I saw it halfway edited. And I said, where's the... There was nothing. There was not even the sound of any of a car. Ironically, today this scene stands as one of the scenes that got every audience happy. Every street racer would love to race an exotic and win on PCH, right? Don't tell me you haven't tried. We are still kids at that age. Oh, before I go, don't forget that I'm raffling off the number 1/8 GTR made by Phantom. It's an exact copy of my movie car in Too Fast, Too Furious. I have the only one that's completely put together. It's the first one off the production line. It's sitting upstairs in my office. $50 gets you a chance to own this car. I have a spreadsheet. You have 100 entries, and we're gonna do the ball thing. If your number is picked, you get it, and you only paid $50. If you buy the kit piece by piece by piece, it's gonna be $2,000. So $50 gets you a chance. You can buy multiple slots. And if you wanna get with me, hit me with a DM and I'll tell you how to do it, okay? That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a lot. See ya. a big thing, but it's just another benefit, right? Of course, my wife's coming in. She's Asian, so I have to watch her. That way, stop. Good timing. Come here, come here. See, she's real.
Okay.
What do you got there? Rice?
No.
You're so Asian.
Crab enchiladas.
Speaking of crabs, I need to go to the pharmacy.